What's going on, coaches? This is Coach Lane, bringing you Coach's Mind podcast. I am the founder, creator, and CEO of Coach's Mind. And have you ever had a team where you went into the season, you had this idea of what you're going to do, how you're going to go about it, even with the summer workouts, everything you've done, and it didn't go the way you worked or envisioned, right? And so you go back to the drawing board, you get frustrated, you talk to your coaches, all these little things. So in this podcast, we call this the building blocks. And I did this podcast with me and another coach. His name is Coach Horseman. And we break down the building blocks of bringing out the best of every single team you coach. This is a great podcast. Take notes and you will get great information. So when you get into the season, you will have ways to bring the best out of every single team that you coach. So sit back, relax, enjoy this podcast, The Building Blocks, bringing out the best in each one of your teams. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to Coach's Mind. This is where we're here to try to connect, serve, and inspire you coaches. So today we got a unique lesson, man. We're going to put it together. I have a great coach. He's done phenomenal things. I'll let him speak for himself, but he is a phenomenal coach that does really great things with his team, with his program, who's not only a good friend, but also has inspired me as a coach in my program. And we have him today here with this lesson, and that's Brandon Horseman, and he's going to talk about the building blocks. We are going to talk about the building blocks for the program to try to reach and bring the best out of our team and our program. So with further ado, I'm going to allow Brandon to introduce and communicate and talk about what he has done.
Yeah, thanks for having me, Coach. I appreciate it. A little background on me. I was an assistant at the high school level, at the high school that I played at. For a couple years, and then I was lucky enough to become a coach, an assistant coach at Highline College with Coach Dawson over there and that staff. I was there for 5 years, and those guys were instrumental in my coaching career. Really taught me the reason behind coaching and the real reason that you should be in it. They're not ego guys. They work super hard. They're in it for the kids. They're in it for the right reasons. After leaving there, I got my first head coaching job at the high school level, and was at Tyee for 2 years, Tyee High School in SeaTac, and they traditionally didn't do very well. We did okay when we were there. Really built up the program for 2 years. We had a C team, a JV, and a varsity. In our second year, I think for the first time in 20 years there, we made it to the playoffs, and that was in and of itself a big accomplishment for being there. I loved my time there. Loved the kids. I was lucky enough to be able to apply for a job at Mount Rainier, where I'm currently at, and I'm going into my 5th year. Each year there, we've made it to playoffs. 2 years ago, we made it to state, and this last year, we won a share of the league title. So we've had some success. Been very blessed with the players that I've had to coach and the groups that I've got to be a part of.
So as we go along this, both Brandon and I, not to speak for him, but we have experience doing things with our teams and programs that's never been done before. So this is an exciting thing. So in this course, our goal is to help you guys understand and learn how to get the best out of each team that you end up coaching. Every team is different, especially at the high school level, but even at the collegiate level, with recruits coming in and multiple personalities, we're hoping that this lesson gives you the foundation or thoughts behind it to achieve and to find out ways to bring the best out of each team. So some of the learning objectives that we're going to go through today is knowing yourself and your must. And we'll explain these ideas behind the must a little bit later. We're also going to look at how to observe your must. So once you gather your must of on and off the court, we're going to see how that connects with your team and what you need to change. We're also going to learn in how to evaluate how your must are doing with your team and their success, and how you view success as a team and program. And then we're going to talk, giving you an action plan, the steps that you will need to implement this to your team to bring out their best. So this is why we're calling this the building blocks, because this is the foundation for you as a coach. This is going to bring stuff out of you that you didn't know you had, to make sure that these young men or women around you are their best. So knowing yourself, knowing your must, that's a big piece. That's a little piece that I think that we have to understand ourselves first. I think we need to look within ourselves to understand this must process as we go about it. And I think there's two types of must: off the court, and then we have one on the court. Brandon's going to dive into the ones that are really on the court and what he does to his programs to bring the best out of his kids, and the things that I've seen. And I'll talk about some of the off the court things. But understand this, that your must is basically your culture, and your culture is basically the foundation of what you believe success is to your program, your actions, your behaviors on what you need to accomplish the tasks or goals that you have set for your whole entire program.
And I think for it to be genuine, it has to be 100% you. You know, you can have people who inspire you. You can have people who you pattern your coaching game after, or you really look up to. But I think it's really important to find the things that matter the most to you, because then it becomes easy to remain genuine and to stay on those things that you believe.
Agree with that 100%. So connecting to that is, so this is kind of like here at Graham Kapowski, this is our cultural playbook, and this is kind of what we live by. We try to implement this on the court and off the court, and we try to give actions and behaviors. Now, I got this idea from Focus 3, and they just came up with this idea of a culture playbook of, you know, what are the beliefs that you have, what are the behaviors behind the beliefs, and how do these outcomes look with that. So, for example, we say EED: energy, execution, and defense. And as you can see, that's just what we believe in as a program. We speak it, and we try to live by that no matter what you do. So we had to give these things a behavior. We couldn't just say, hey, we're going to play with energy. So then I would say, if you're a coach that believes in energy, well, how does energy look? And you can say, well, hustling and playing hard. It doesn't matter what we know. It's what your kids know. Do your kids know how it looks? So this little format is something that your kids can have, your parents can have, that you can have, that you can use. So for us, energy is giving your best efforts with purpose and intent from point A to point B. And the reason why I have it in that way is because it relates to off the floor. Because you got to look at it when kids are in class and they're listening to their teacher. Are they giving their best effort with the assignment, anything that they're doing from point A to point B? Because that's the behavior we want. Because if you can do it off the court, hopefully it translates to on the court. And then the outcome would be a highly competitive team that loves each other in what we do. Because if they're performing hard in the classroom and they're working hard in the classroom, they will soon consistently be on the court, because they're not being pulled away for other reasons that do not focus on the task that is at hand. And then this idea behind sound bites is, how does your culture sound, right? Because not to dive into this culture piece too much, but a culture is a thing. It's actually a thing that you can feel, you can see. It's a living thing that a lot of people or coaches don't realize. You can either have a culture by design, or culture that is just that just happens. So you can design it with the cultural playbook, or you can just let it happen, but you're going to have a culture no matter what. So this allows you to go about it. And I know, what are some of the things, I know Brandon has some things as well within his program that he believes in as well. What do you got?
Yeah, I mean, it's similar. It's kind of just being a student athlete, getting places on time. If we're talking about off the court, it's getting places on time. It's just staying focused on what you can control. Like that's a big one in our program. Is a lot of times guys get bent out of shape on all these other things that they can't control, but we try to focus them on worrying about the things that they control and doing those things to the best of their ability. So that's a constant effort. And while doing that, doing it with, some positivity. Yeah. We're adverse in our program to negative guys. Negative guys don't last. Negative coaches aren't allowed. You don't have to be a rah guy and say everything's great when it isn't. Mm-hmm. But you have to be able to fight through adversity with a positive attitude.